And now Daisy is making a video. Okay, so what I did is, this is the last part of the process to rebuild the cartridge in here. You have to dado this out, because as I explained before, this cartridge is 3/4 of an inch, and the other cartridge was a 1/2 inch thick, and the original core doesn't fit in there. So I took the core from this this new filter that I took apart, and I cut it, took the baffle out of the middle and taped it closed. And now this slides in here down to the poppet valve. Okay, now some people say, well, that tape is going to go into the filter, and that's true. The glue is going to get dissolved once the hydraulic fluid is going to go in there. The tape will probably remain as it is, because the filter will crush down around it and be held in place. But even if it did go through the pump, it wouldn't stop the pump from pumping, because it's such a soft material. There's just one layer, and I don't believe that it'll affect the pump at all. So we're going to put the glue on here, the two-part epoxy, and we're going to go. So it's going to go into around the notch that I made with the Dremel tool, that opened up the hole for the inner flange here to sit around here. Without that notch around the top of the paper, I would have had to go find 1/2 inch wide paper, and I already spent 5 hours going to multiple stores in Tagbilaran looking for 1/2 inch thick paper, and the only resolution to finding 1/2 inch paper that I found is even in the hydraulic shop that swore he could get me anything I wanted. He told me he couldn't get me 1/2 inch paper, and this is a hydraulic shop that sells hydraulic hoses and O-rings, but he doesn't have all the O-rings. He goes to the store and buys the O-rings as he needs the O-rings for the jobs he's doing. In other words, I wanted an O-ring for this to fit around this base flange, and he didn't have one of those. So I'm going to take the one that's worn out and wrap it with pipe 3/4 inch pipe dope tape, 3/4 inch Teflon tape. That's what I'm going to do, and that's going to work. And I know it's going to work because I do it all the time. So you take this flange, you get, now that it fits in there, now remember to mark on the stainless steel before you put this down, because once you put that glue on there, it's hard for you to see the depth that you're getting on the flange. So it's inside, it's in there now, and now I have to just walk it down around this outside basket. It went in easy as pie before, and now it goes. Okay, there it is. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I am going to clamp this. Okay. So I have to adjust, and that will hold it together. And this is a 16-inch throat C-clamp. It's probably, could be on the high end of 75 years old, because I got it from my grandfather's basement on my father's side. Very nice.
Oh.
Oh, sorry. Okay, so I have a minimum amount of pressure on here. It's just to hold it what we call snug. Alright, that magic mark is what I put on there earlier to let me know where the bottom of the flange is going to stop. And now we're at that point, or even perhaps even a few centimeters, or a few 64th, a few 64ths even further. Now what's important is to remember, you want the material is already up against the paper and the metal housing. You don't want it to be, you want the epoxy to fall downward into this cap, into the flange. It's already everywhere it has to be. So this is a finished product from before that's just setting up. The glue is setting up. And they're both the same size, within about a 1/16 of an inch. And one is slightly different because from the poppet valve opening and closing constantly, this flange wore out. So basically this poppet valve is setting up against an O-ring. But that's okay, because under the O-ring has a seat. So the only thing different about this is now it's crushing the O-ring, which is the reason that this one is slightly smaller. And that's it. So that's my video on how to rebuild an oil filter. You could follow this over here. Put that in the man vise. Lock it there so you can keep an eye on it so it doesn't shift.
Oh.
Very nice, Daisy. And there you go. I did drop a tool on my foot about an hour ago, but due to the fact that I built a proper brace against accidental droppage out of a K-Park floor mat and some sheet metal I found on the side of the road, the bridge of my foot is protected. Had it not been for that thing an hour ago, I think I would still be crying, because it bounced off of here just like it was supposed to. Come on down, honey. Come on down. I'll show you the old, okay, wait, I'll help you. I'll show you the old, this is the old filter. Totally clogged. I cleaned this out last year with gasoline. I let it soak overnight because the poppet valve was clicking on and off too often at high speed. But recently, and I mean the last few months, it got clogged up to the point where it needed to be replaced. So this job, start to finish, 5 hours to go find the new filters and O-rings, 5 hours looking for the O-rings and this new filter to replace the cartridge, and it's a different size even still. So then I spent an additional 3 hours just to modify the inside basket strainer that you saw me slip in before. So 5 hours to find the parts, 2 hours to take the baskets out of the machine, that's 7. 6 hours yesterday to rebuild the first filter, that's 13. 6 hours today to rebuild the second filter and the inner cartridge, that's 20, and 2 more hours to put the filters back on. 22 hours. Plus I spent 5 hours looking for this cartridge online all over the world, in China, in Japan, in Mitsubishi, or something similar. So, but I have 22 physical hours this week to replace these 2 filters. Now Daisy, come on down, honey. They look like a German hand grenade. The old German hand grenades. Come on over here and say hello. This is my assistant, Daisy May. My lovely, guapa, Daisy May assistant, saying, "Amping Permi" from Michael Fazio and in the Philippines, baby. That's right.